what happens when a child is born and they're assigned non-binary?
You can't be assigned non-binary at birth. You can be assigned like asexual, like you can have malformations and stuff, and you can not be formed correctly. But you will always be XX or XY. You will always have the chromosomal footprint of a male or a female. Always. You will always have that. Hello, you sexy people. Welcome back. Let's jump straight back in and try and dissect some of this madness, shall we?
Absolutely fucking not.
Whoa. Let's declare a pandemic amnesty. We need to forgive one another for what we did and said when we were in the dark about COVID. No, we don't. Because if you admit you were in the dark, you shouldn't have been saying things. You making that statement admits your own, like, you were at fault yourself, your own mistakes.
Absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, no. Yes, worldwide. Whoa, what the fuck? Shut up. No way. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Foundation. Groundbreaking, major, totally epic. House Labs. Obviously iconic, legendary, honestly, Academy Award winning, smooth like butter, second skin. Whoa, bitch. Hey, so you...
Like, the thing that I don't get... Oh, Jasmine. The thing that I don't get about the whole transgender thing, like, if I dressed up as a woman and I did all the stereotypical things and I over-exaggerated all the traits, shall we say, that females typically have. If I did that, I would be sexist. So the only thing that protects me would be claiming that I believe I'm a woman. So my self-diagnosis exempts me from the label of being a sexist. Do you see what I'm saying? It's weird. It's getting weird. That was a TikTok dance by a Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Why are they doing TikTok dances? Yeah, worried about crime, inflation and gas prices. Like, there's a lot going on in the world at the minute. There's a war. We've just come out the arse end of a pandemic. There's a lot of inflation worldwide. Like, the economies are burning. And she's doing TikTok dances, trying to get the 19-year-olds to vote for her. It's madness. What happened to, like, governors and politicians having actual policies, and then you'd vote on them, like, you'd vote on the policies versus the policies, and the face of the governor was merely the face of the governor attached to said policy. What happened to that? Where did that go? Shocking.
But I'm going to interrupt you then. Here's the problem. We don't feel safe. You might be working closely with Mayor Adams. You may have spent a whole lot of money, but I walk into my pharmacy and everything is on lockdown because of shoplifters. I'm not going in the subway. People don't feel safe in this town. So you may have done these things, but right now we're not feeling good. We're worried we could be San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's my privilege to have been asked to conduct our service today to celebrate the life of Alan Wright. I therefore offer you all a very warm welcome as we unite in love and friendship to...
You have to put the chairs back, I'm afraid. You can't move the chairs to a side.
What? Middle of the pandemic?
No, it's not a problem for kids who are seeking a good education. Drag queens. Okay? Let me say this. Drag queens, not only are they not hurting our kids, drag queens make everything better. Drag queens are fun. Drag queens are entertainment. And you know what I'll say?
Drag queens are fun. Drag queens are entertainment. Yes, I can give you that. I can give you that under very certain circumstances. I.e., at like a strip club or at an 18s only bar. Do you know where it's like adult entertainment where only adults are? Yeah, I'll give you that. But we shouldn't be having things like Drag Queen Story Hour where we're getting fully grown adult men with questionable sexual intent, right? Those men dressed as women pretending to be people from fucking fairy tales and acting like it's normal to children, because it's not normal. Normal is what is normal, like what is practiced commonly, what everybody does. So it's normal. Normal is dictated by the majority, and the majority of people do not dress like that, so it's not normal by definition. So I don't understand the argument they're trying to make. What is the goal? Because you have to judge people based on what their objective was, not what they actually did. So you've heard the old adage of it's the thought that counts. If somebody gives you a gift and they didn't think it through, but they just wanted to make you happy, it's the thought that counts. So what is the thought here? The action's irrelevant. What are they trying to get to? Why do they want drag queens? Why do they want to teach children how to have sex and engage in sex acts in books at school? Why do they want to do this? What is the intent? What is the thought behind the process? Because it's getting strange now.
That was totally not poll tested. I say this: a drag queen for every school. That is what would be fun for kids and lift them up when they are having emotional issues.
It's Monday.
What's wrong with a clown? What's wrong with just someone painted with silly makeup on, big wig? Like, they don't even need to go in as a clown. What's wrong with fucking Barney the dinosaur? What's wrong with Bob the Builder and Peppa Pig? And what's wrong with all these? What's wrong with Scooby-Doo? Like before they started doing all the gender swapping and the race swap, the sexuality swapping and the race swapping. What's wrong with these things? Why do we need to jump from like Barney the dinosaur to fucking Billy the diva? Why do we need what? I don't understand the leap that you've made. And you're not even trying to explain the leap. You're just saying we need this to uplift children, but there's other things that are much safer that we could use. It's so illogical.
And here's what's happened.
B, what are you doing under my desk?
Well, under the desk is kind of my thing. I mean,
Yeah, but here's the thing. You can stay for now, but when it comes time to voting, you're going to have to get up because you've got climate change legislation on the ballot, you've got gun safety, and if we can elect more pro-choice members of Congress, we can reinstitute Roe versus Wade as the law of the land. So you can't stay here. You're going to have to take a little bit of time to vote.
is now a bad time to say that I voted for McCain in 2008?
As long as you voted, it's okay.
Go to iwillvote.com and I will see you at the polls.
I think I've just had a little epiphany watching that. They're clearly grooming the children in all this woke ideology at the schools, like from nursery. I don't know what you guys would call nursery. It's like pre-elementary school, then elementary and high school, and college and university. And then the full time they're going through that growth period from like 11, from like 7 to 25. The full time they're going through that. This is the social media that they're getting bombarded with, and it's like they're attacking them while they're young because they don't have any critical thinking skills. Like, most people are quite liberal when they're young, and then as they grow up and they age and they understand the world a bit more, they become a bit more conservative. That's like, it tends to be the way it is. So like, if you look at the demographics for it, most conservatives are older and most liberals are younger, and there's like a swing, like between the ages of like 20 and 40, people tend to transition to one side. But this seems to be what it is. Like, get them while they're young. Because obviously what we're saying, like the Democratic Party obviously over there, what they're saying doesn't appeal to adults. They know that what they're doing is turning the adults against them. So what they need to try and do is change the demographic base of their voters, so they now have the younger generation voting for them because they're consuming this viral shit effectively. So they're trying to get them while they're young, so they're grooming them in school to give them this mindset so that when they leave school, that what the Democrats are saying doesn't seem so alien to them. Because we were raised old school, so we know what they're saying is bullshit. So they're trying to get the kids. All makes sense. What? What? Where's this? It doesn't tell you what kind of thing it is, but it says it's a classroom, so it must be a teacher. High school teacher. So it's just a place where they can go and sit and play on the phone and slack off. High quality education in action. No books. It is such a fucked up sight. Like, that is a soft core strip show. That's what that is. If you had to sum that up to somebody, you'd say it was somebody dancing and gyrating in revealing clothes, but not taking them off. So it's like a burlesque strip show, sexy dance thing. That's what it is, right? That's how you describe it to somebody. But then you add the multiple layers of it's two children and by a man pretending to be a woman. So it's like it's a triple layered cake of shit, and none of it makes any sense. Like the strip show, like the dancing like that was completely out of context. Somebody dancing like that, they should be on stage. It should be part of a routine. They're going around receiving money. That makes them a softcore stripper, doesn't it? They're dancing around and receiving tips, right? So they're a softcore stripper. So that's completely ruined the context of the scenario anyway. Then add the fact that it's in front of children and two children, and children are tipping them. That makes it incredibly unsettling. And then the third and final part is it's not even a woman, and it's a overweight middle-aged man performing some weird fantasy that he's got. I don't understand why it's okay. I don't understand why it's okay. It really baffles me. It really, really baffles me. Why are we allowed to do this to children? Like, as a society, we're meant to protect children. It's getting fucking stupid now. Says he's used picture books to challenge the idea of gender. See, here we go. Look, do you know what I mean? Elementary school kids beneath 10. Why?
I have a quick gender-inclusive tip to share with you all for elementary school teachers.
Why?
So check this out. When reading picture books like this beautiful picture book called My Name is a Song, it can be easy to look at illustrations and assume gender. So challenge those thoughts within yourself and challenge them when you're conversing with students. For example, on the very first page of this book, we just get an illustration. We don't know the character's name. We don't know their pronouns. And so it can be easy to make assumptions about gender. When you feel yourself doing that, simply use they, them.
When you feel yourself doing something which your species has evolved itself to do over thousands of years, it's innate. We do it intrinsically. Children learn it from an early age that men and women are different. Oh, he's got hair on his face. Oh, she's got lumps. We learn it from a very early age. It's innate to humanity. I would actually argue that it's partly responsible for our survival as a species. Because if I was walking around as a Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, 100,000 years ago, sticking my dick in anything, chances are I wouldn't have recreated. Like, chances are I wouldn't have reproduced. So you need to be able to identify a viable mate. So assuming gender is part of our sexual reproductive strategy. It's actually biological. So when you see somebody, don't assume their gender. Ignore millions of years of evolution. Fuck you, you tool. You don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Pronouns, or say things to your class like, I'm not sure of their gender, so I'm going to use a gender neutral pronoun like they, them. At least with fourth graders, they pick up on this quickly, and they also will use that same skill when they're reading. It's very, very cool to see.
You see, before we even watch the video, I'm going to see if I am clairvoyant. And I'm going to see if this is probably going to be a man that's slightly overweight, a man that's slightly overweight, over-exaggerated in makeup, singing a woman's song, receiving tips from children.
So it's always so interesting.
Oh, God, it just makes me feel sick to my stomach. Why are children seeing this? Think of the children. Will somebody think of the children?
Won't somebody please think of the children?
When you hear people talking about, oh, black folks can't swim, and it's like, that's because of racism and anti-blackness.
No. To say black people can't swim is racist. Unless it's statistically true, it's racist to say that. It just is. Like, even if black people, like if I said, like, all white people can play the piano, like that's racist. Like it's just a racist statement. People just need, like, I think in America the problem is that race is so mixed in with every fucking thing that you do on a daily basis that it's hard to differentiate what actually is racist and what's actually statistically true. And it's, yeah, my guy, if someone says you can't do something because you're black, they're racist. Like, end of. You can't do it because you're black, you can't do it because you're white, that's racist.
So back in the day, before desegregation, there used to be a whole bunch of public pools where black kids could go swimming and do all of those things. So after desegregation, you started to see all of these images popping up of white people pouring acid and snatching white kids out of pools where black people were in. Then there were stories of how a whole pool was drained because Sammy Davis Jr. got in it, and stories around Dorothy Dandridge, the scene from the movie where she stuck her toe in the pool and then they drained it. What they don't tell you is that after desegregation, they cemented in more than 2,000 swimming pools in the country, primarily in black neighborhoods. This was also the rise of country clubs, which became exclusive to whites only so that their kids could still learn how to swim.
Yeah.
So when we see black folks drowning at 4 and 5 times the rate of white people, just know it is not by chance. It is all by design.
Right. How long ago did all that stop happening, my guy? So you're saying that you, yourself, as a black man in America, right, were raised in a family whose culture it was not to swim. Okay, right? So because of the shit that they went through hundreds of years ago, well, it's probably about 60 years ago now, the shit that they went through 60 years ago has formed a culture in amongst your black culture, your black society, as you like to segregate yourself out, which is stupid. You're just a human, dude. You're a human that's come from this culture, right? Everybody that I know that's black in the UK can swim. Every single person. So for you to say that, like, being black is the reason that you can't swim, no. Being black is the reason that your ancestors couldn't swim. But that's no longer the case anymore. There's nothing stopping you as a black man in today's America going to a pool now and getting some swimming lessons, learn how to do it. It's really easy to do. Like, we're quite good at it naturally. And there's tribes like in Africa that have been swimming and diving for years, and they're some of the best swimmers in the world. Same as people from Indonesia that can hold the breath for ages. Some of the best swimmers in the world. None of them are white. So you're making excuses. You're making excuses for not doing something. It's like me saying, "Oh, I couldn't be a rapper because I'm white." No, it's bullshit. It doesn't. Like, it's a lie, isn't it? I can do anything. It doesn't make a difference what colour I am. It doesn't make a difference what colour I am. Now I could probably even play a black character because we're doing it with white characters and making them black. So chances are I'll be able to play Kunta Kinte in future films. Do you know what I mean? Chances are. So you're not limited by your skin colour, and to believe that is a limiting thought. You need to discard that. If you believe that the world is against you because of your skin colour, you're not. It's not true. It's not true. Maybe some people are because they're bigoted. Some individual people maybe, but the world in general, no, far from it.
This kind of goes along with the same subject that gentleman just brought up. In this school here, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I think.
Jesus.
Kind of uncomfortable to even say. This book.
I'd really rather you not read something that's going to be pretty explicit.
But it's in the school. It's called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
It's in here.
It's checked out right now. You can see online. It's checked out now.
I've seen a lot of these where people go in and they try and read actual material from the school library or the school criteria, the school curriculum, and they get shut down. Like, oh, you can't read that in here. Well, why? It's getting read in classrooms. So I'm not allowed to read it in a room full of adults, but one adult's allowed to read it to a room full of children. That's the logic that follows. And they're trying to shut you down because they don't want you to expose what they're doing. You need to keep pushing, guys. You need to keep pushing. The Muslim families that did it, I can't remember where it was, they went absolutely crazy with them. They filled the school hall, so the meeting had to get shut down and they had to rearrange it next week for a bigger hall so they could get more people in, because so many of them were infuriated with what the school board had done, the material that they'd exposed the children to.
I'll just read a couple things so people know. Somebody's child has this book checked out. Hey, Earl, I'm going to eat her pussy.
Jesus.
Do you know how to eat pussy? Papa Gaines never sat you down, son. One day you're going to have to eat the pussy. But no,
You got
he
the point, Mr.
didn't
Pete.
teach me how to eat.
In all due respect, I think we got the point.
But this is all adults. If it's wrong here,
Jesus, this is what I'm saying about teaching kids sex acts in school. Why is it okay to tell 7, 8 and 9th graders how, like, talking about eating pussy? Like, what the fuck is that about? Jesus, man. You need to be put on a register if you do that. That's terrible. That's fucking terrible. My God. Where's Chris Hansen? Do you remember when he used to do that To Catch a Predator stuff? Where's that shit now? Because there's people in schools putting paedophilic books there. What is going on?
Oh.
I think I got
What is going on?
It's called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
If you feel
And it's in this school checkout.
A question that I don't feel like has been addressed as well as it could is, does being Etherean affect your gender? I personally think it can. I think it absolutely can. If not gender, then your expression of what would be considered masculinity or femininity. For me personally,
I just wanna quickly sprinkle this out there, right? If you are a guy, whatever you do is masculine by definition. You, as a man, define masculine. So a gay guy that's super camp is still masculine because he's a guy. That's just how he expresses his masculinity. It doesn't really mean anything. Femininity and masculinity. It doesn't really mean anything. There's such abstract terms that, like, this is why it's a problem, because they like to latch onto them because it's woo-woo. Masculinity doesn't mean anything. So, like, does that mean that there's a scale of masculinity so somebody can be more of a man than somebody else? Like, if you're watching this and you're above the age of, like, 18, 19, you're practically a man now. You're just as much a man as me, and I'm just as much a man as you, regardless of what we do. And what I do is, by definition, masculine. Like her, she's holding this phone in a feminine way, she's wearing her hair in a feminine way, she's got a feminine top on because she's a woman. If I put that on, it'd look like a masculine top. Like, if I put this is why men in dresses look weird, because it turns the clothes into masculine clothes. This is why it doesn't quite sit right with us. We're such a complicated creature, and people are trying to label and define everything. I don't like the term masculine and feminine. It doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If a woman can be more masculine than a man, and a man can be more feminine than a woman, what good are the terms? If you think about it, what good are they? There's like fucking sliders that can go in infinite directions. Useless to you. Absolutely useless to you.
my
Just do you.
stereotypes have specific genders in terms of what I think they were in past lives. And the
Oh, God.
overarching animal spirits,
Past lives. Past lives. I want to come back. If we can come back as something, I want to come back as like a fucking lion or a tiger or something. Just out the way of fucking humanity. Because we are a stupid species.
sort of, if they give off masculine or if they give off feminine energy. For me personally, my wolf stereotype.
Is it possible to give off feminine energy with a beard? There's a question for you. Answer that in the comments. Is it possible to give off feminine energy with a beard? And inside that question, you will realise how stupid the terms are. Like, how does that even make sense? How can you be feminine with a beard? Because a beard is intrinsically belongs to a man, and a man by definition is the masculine. You're just going to find yourself in a weird fucking loop. That's what you're going to find yourself in. Can you give off feminine energy with a beard? Comment below. Let me know. I don't think you can. I don't think it's possible.
Is masculine, my cat stereotype is feminine, and my northern pike stereotype is masculine. So, I personally feel more masculine when I am connecting with wolf and more feminine when I am connecting with cat. And when I say wolf and cat, I'm referring to the animal spirits themselves. I'm not referring to like my stereotype directly, because your stereotype is a part of you, but I am referring to the over...
The crystal on the neck. The crystal on the neck and the fact that she's talking about wolves and cats says everything I need to know. I'm not even going to grace this lady with any more replies.
Animal spirits of that specific species or stereotype.
How do I put this? The trans community lied to me. When I was a teenager, I was told that this discomfort I was feeling is just that I was meant to be a boy. And that...
Before before she goes any further, right? Before she goes any further, it's all well and good me sitting here and me trying to talk about this, right? But the amount of bravery that it takes for this young lady to make this and put this on the internet, right? Can we just commend her for that? Like, the amount of spirit that it took to actually upload this shit. Before I even hear what she says.
If I transitioned, I would feel great. I would feel euphoric. It would be
shaking,
everything.
terrible.
But looking back, I think if someone at that time would have just said no, just told me no, just been like, no, we're gonna get you help you need. It's just a normal teenage thing to feel uncomfortable in your body. Maybe I wouldn't be where I am today. And I don't know what to do anymore. I'm mainly just gonna talk about this for a little bit, just for myself, but also just in the hopes that someone maybe will see this.
Good, yes.
And just think for a minute.
See, that took fucking courage, that took courage. What you just witnessed there was true courage. All this shit, them coming out, oh, I came out and I'm living as my real me, and they all get praised and fucking brave for it. That was courage. What you just witnessed there, that was true courage. Burn that into your mind, etch it in, make a mental note. Remember it. Next time you need to be courageous, think of her, because that's what that was. That's what that was. Unfiltered, unfettered courage.
I'm sorry. I guess I'm stressed.
Something I keep hearing from parents who do not want their children wearing masks in school is that they think it is causing / will cause long-term mental health issues. This is really bothering me, and here's why. Let me preface this with I am not a trauma professional, but as a former foster parent, I took a lot of interest in how trauma impacts kids, and I've spent a lot of time reading and studying about it. Most people would
take this from me. I'm not a professional chef, but I've spent a lot of time eating, so I know food.
Argue that living through a pandemic is in fact traumatic. Everything is different. And I get that people are grasping at normal because that makes it feel less traumatic. But here's the thing about trauma. Being able to move and do something to protect yourself is a critical factor in determining whether or not a horrible experience will leave long-lasting scars.
And here's another thing about trauma. You can do things to yourself and believe that they're beneficial only to discover years later that they were not. So the argument you've just made has got an exact counter-argument. Both of them lie in assuming you know what's going to happen. And both of them are made on an assumption, and you should never build anything on shaky ground. And an assumption is the shakiest of ground.
That's from The Body Keeps the Score. Our brains are wired to help us survive. So here we are, in a pandemic with kids, and kids are taking cues from adults. By wearing masks, social distancing, getting vaccinated if we can, we are taking an active role in survival. And our kids get to help with that. This helps their brain organize a way out of the trauma of it all. For those who experience a threat to their safety and don't have a way to take action, perhaps kids whose parents insist they not wear a mask or get vaccinated, the brain can get stuck and continue putting out stress chemicals long past the threat. The symptoms that parents are suggesting that masks cause, shortness of breath, fatigue, headaches, stomach aches, difficulty concentrating, are also symptoms of anxiety. Maybe kids are stressed because people they've been taught their whole lives to trust, doctors, are now in direct...
Maybe kids are stressed because there's 50% of people here screaming you need to wear a mask, and there's 50% of people here screaming you don't need to wear a mask, right? And the child trusts and respects both parties and doesn't know what to do. Maybe you fighting and bickering is the actual source of anxiety for the child. And if you just said to the kid, oh, it's up to you, and that you two parties weren't fighting about masks, maybe the kid wouldn't be stressed out. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about that your disagreement could be the root cause of their anxiety? Just a thought.
Direct opposition to people they've also been taught to trust, their parents. Imagine hearing everywhere, there's a threat, but the people that you trust are saying, no, there's not. That is confusing for kids.
Exactly
They're
what I just
watching
said.
and they are learning.
We're off to take it down.
She made my point for me. I promise I haven't watched this video. I watch it fresh with you guys. And while I paused it here, see this guy just above me here? This lovely gentleman, you can only see his eyes. That's Rob is Right. That's the guy who I always get these videos from. Rob is Right, top left corner. Go and give him a watch if you want to watch it without me talking shit, because I know I waffle. I'm sorry.
Who are you touching our flags? You have no right to do this.
You are directed to take it down.
Well,
The dean's office has requested.
you're targeting us. So,
Put your phone away.
Absolutely not. I have every right to record, and you know that. This is America. We have the First Amendment right of freedom of speech, freedom of expression. I don't know why you're taking my flags down.
Call campus safety for me.
Tell the dean. Call the dean. I want to speak to
You were told you can go down and see the dean, so you can go ahead and do that.
You're not going to tell anybody else anything. I told you, once you tell everyone else to remove it, then we'll consider it. But, like, why do you target us
Been given a
specifically?
directive.
So you support
Targeting us
this?
Specifically.
This is you guys are targeting our property. I don't know
Are
why
you
you're
going
doing
to the other
this.
flags
Please back up.
No, why are you touching
Please
my
back up.
flags? Did you pay for these flags?
You were asked to take them down.
Don't touch my flags.
You were taken.
You're gonna
asked to
pay for
take
them?
down.
You're gonna
were
pay
asked
for
to
them?
Take them down.
There's no context here. Like, did these guys break a rule or not? Like, they might have put the "Don't Tread on Me" flag up, but what if there's a policy that says no flags are allowed at all? Like, you don't know who's right and who's wrong here.
And you were told that they would be taken down.
You can't tell.
So are you going to take down the other flags?
Everyone's being asked to take them down.
So they're being asked, but our flags are being ripped off.
Maybe you guys were just first. Like I say, there's not enough context here to make a decision.
Right? They're being asked, but our flags are being ripped off.
Why are we forced
You
to
think
do
that's right? That's right?
You can go speak with the deans. We're given that.
I don't know who you are. For all I know, you're a stranger and you're ripping my flags off.
Yeah, technically she does have to give you them back. They are your
So what about
property.
that flag right there? Why aren't you guys taking that one first?
I'm waiting to hear directives from our deans. A message is going to be going out.
What do you mean you're waiting to hear from our dean? You just took our flags down.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'll take my flags. Thank
They're
you
going to
very
go to the
much.
dean's office.
I'll take my
Do not
flags.
touch me.
I
Yeah,
bought
that's
these.
fair.
You're not taking my
Unless
property.
it's-
This is stealing. That's
is not.
stealing. I paid for this. No, the college does not have the right to take my flags. Okay, this is mine. And that was ridiculous.
I'm going to ask my husband if he's going to come support me.
Like I say, not enough context, but it was right at the end. She couldn't steal his flag. That was his property.
I paid for this.
Yes, you did.
No,
good
the
sir.
college does not have the
It is
right
your
to take
property
my
indeed.
flags.
You may leave
Okay,
with your
this is
property
mine.
intact.
And that was ridiculous.
I'm going to ask my husband if he's going to come support me. He's like, you know what? I don't want to listen to those words come out of your mouth because they're so horrible. The sex scene, I'm going to read it to you because this is what our kids have.
A mother reads a pornographic book available to her child. It doesn't say anything about her getting shut down. Let's do a quick poll now before we get into this. Do you think that they're going to tell her to shut up as soon as she starts reading the dirty stuff? I think they will. Oh, you can't say that in here. I reckon that's what's going to happen.
She pulled up her top and her breasts flopped out, and I heard them more than felt them. And she reached her hand back and grabbed my dick. It wasn't hard, and pretty soon I couldn't really think about anything else. I heard her open a crinkly little package and felt her put the cool plasticky middle of the condom snugly on the front of my dick like she was shrink wrapping it, and felt her fingernails through the plastic like the legs of a crab fingernailing their way down my dick. And she rose up a little and adjusted her panties.
Jesus, this is some graphic shit, this. I don't even think women read this, do they? If I've got a few female subscribers, thank you for following, ladies. Let me know, do you read stuff this dirty? Because men look at porn, right? Men are visual creatures. We watch porn, right? And then you guys, you ladies, you like to read and you like to think and you like to fantasize. And I've heard some excerpts from some dirty woman's literature, and it's filth, right? Nothing compared to that. That was fucking descriptive. That was almost scientific. That was foul, that. Terrible. You can tell they're trying to teach him how to do stuff.
Breathed harder and opened her mouth and breath again. And it goes on, and then he says, the moment she put me inside her, I mean the exact moment I came. And I curled up like a snail and kept coming about 100 times. And that's the tame part, okay? I mean, it's worse in here. And you guys are accountable for this. This book was taken off. It was challenged. How in the world did a librarian, how did she put it back on there? Because she didn't think it was bad enough? I mean, seriously, what else in that did I just read? How was that not bad enough? How come I'm here trying for over a year now? How come I'm standing back here again saying, please take these books out? Please take them out. If there's anything at all that they might.
I want to say one thing here that's in the battle of the sexes. This is one thing that women are far better at than men, right? Because guys, if you were watching this, if you had kids and you had to go and confront the people that were responsible for distributing this foul material to your children, Papa Bear is going to go in there and see red and try and rip shoulders out of sockets. That's what Papa Bear is going to do. But when Mama Bear defends her cubs, it's different. Because women know, like, women have got a way with words. A woman can cut you deeper than a sword ever could with words alone, right? And they're good with it. And they have to evolve that way because they know they're not going to overpower people. They know it. From a very young age, they realise when they get to 13, 14, they realise that dudes get bigger than them and they get stronger than them really quickly. So girls are smarter. Why do you think girls learn quicker? Why do you think girls are often perform better at high school? It's because they know that their brain is their best weapon. Whereas guys start to realise they've got physical strength and they start to slack in the brain area. That's why most of the dumb guys, are massive. That's why. Because that's their strength. So when a woman goes in, when a mother goes in and starts reading and talking like this and trying to keep herself calm, and you can hear the tears in her voice trying to control it because she's worried about her baby, that's humanity speaking at its most powerful, that when a mother's concerned about a child.
It'd be bad. We're not book banning explicit sexual situations. We're leaving that on our shelves. We're putting it back on. How is that possible? This is at Jordan, Alta, Brighton, Diamond Ridge, and it's obviously okay. I walk down the halls and I see these pictures of these kids smiling and happy, and I'm like, this is where my kids are supposed to be safe. They're supposed to come to school and be safe. They're not safe anymore, and you guys have the power to do something about it. I'm begging you, please stop putting our kids at risk. It's not fair. It's not right, and this is happening on your watch. Just pull the books. Last thing, we will always be the land of the free. As long as we are the home of the brave, please be brave. Please do the right thing.
We could just ignore my hair, please. So today during class, one of my classes were just all over the place. They would not stop talking and they always know how to get me. Ask me questions about sex ed and I'm sucked into your loophole. I don't even know if that's the right phrase.
Well, there's your first mistake. Ask you questions about sex ed. You say, no, Timmy, that's not appropriate for a 6-year-old. Let's move on. So, basic shapes. Who can tell me what this is? Sound like a suggestion for you next time, you stupid nonce.
But one student was like, do you believe that there's multiple genders, like in this country? And I said, yeah, I mean, depending on where you live, there could be no genders or there could be more than 3, depending on your culture and your society. In our society, I do believe that there are multiple genders. And he was like, I don't believe that because when you're born, they assign you boy or girl. And I said, yes, they do, based on your biological sex. Gender is the ideas formed from society and culture that are attached to the sexes. So then I asked him,
based on that definition, that gender is the identity based on your culture and society and stuff, that means that there are infinite genders, or at least there are the same number of genders as people on the planet. So there's like 7.5 billion genders now, because my gender will not conform with anybody else's on the planet. So the way I feel as a man, I am like a very unique man. So there's no other men like me, right? So because I'm the only one, that means that I've got a very specific gender. So now there's 7.5 billion genders and counting. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how you can say that. I really don't understand how you can say that and expect to be taken seriously.
what happens when a child is born and they're assigned non-binary?
You can't be assigned non-binary at birth. You can be assigned like asexual, like you can have malformations and stuff, and you can not be formed correctly. But you will always be XX or XY. You will always have the chromosomal footprint of a male or a female. Always. You will always have that. We can dig people up and we can work out what gender they were, what sex they were, what gender they were. It's the same thing, man. It's just getting a bit ridiculous now. I think what a lot of these people mix up, right? So they've confused your personality with your gender. So you can't just be like a person anymore. Like you have to be a person and a gender simultaneously. So I can't just be a straight man who likes these things. It's those things make my gender. So I just happen to be attracted to women, but I also like making models, and I also like playing computer games and playing music. Like I also like doing that. So now, does that make me music gendered? Where I'm a cisgendered, like, straight white man? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It just turns into a big garbled mess.
So I asked him what would happen if a child was born and they were assigned the gender being non-binary. And he had nothing to say. Now, is it common?
Nothing to say, 'cause he was about 5 years old, you stupid bitch.
No. But there are kids that are assigned no gender or no strict box of a gender when they are born. When I have children, they have a biological sex based on their body. I will not assign them a gender. They will learn and experience things that society says are only for certain genders.
So they're going to grow up and develop a personality, and that personality will become their gender, exactly like I've just said.
And they fully understand the idea of gender, different genders, how they feel about gender, then feel free, go off, go all out, balls to the wall, assign yourself a gender, or don't, I don't care. But we cannot sit here and say there are only two genders in this country, because that's what the model has been. We know that before...
There are only two genders in the entire fucking world, my darling. There are two genders in the entire world. What you're talking about is people that have got different personalities. And like, this is the thing, like, you've got your sexual biology, right? Which is your chromosomes and your hormones, estrogen, testosterone. You've got that, right? Then you've got your sexual preference, which is like gay, straight, like, or bisexual or asexual. They're your things. Or you can be like weird sexual, you know what I mean? Like, you can want to have sexual roller coasters and stuff. So there you've got your sexual makeup, which is immutable, which you can't change. Then you've got your sexual preference, which we all pretty much agree on. You don't choose who you fall in love with, do you? So you've got that, and you can't change it. And then you've got your personality, which is like the way that you act, behave, and respond to things. That has got fuck all to do with the other two. It's got fuck all to do with it. So, because basically what you're saying is, if somebody is a lesbian, right, and they're a woman, right, that they'll all intrinsically act the same way. No. The only thing that's different between them is the personalities, isn't it? That's the only thing that's different. Just because they're a lesbian doesn't mean they're the same. Just because they're a woman doesn't mean they're the same. And they've got different personalities. So the personality is the main thing that changes it. I don't get them. They make no sense. It all has to be about them. Like, they have to, it's almost like they're personalising their identity to the point where they're willing to change their biology. You don't need to personalise yourself that much. You've got the tattoos and the piercings and the nails and the hair. That's enough personalisation for now. I think too many people... Do you know when you create a character in a game and you can set all the sliders and you can change the hair and that? Too many people get caught up in that instead of playing the actual fucking game.
Before Europeans came and stole all of this motherfucking land...
My fault. White Europeans.
That Native American tribes, not all of them, but some of them, did not adhere to these ideas of gender. So I asked him, where are you getting your information from? And he said, doctors. I said, that's interesting because gender doesn't have to do with the body. He was confused. So hopefully when we revisit this conversation during the gender lesson, he'll rethink his statement.
So if gender's got nothing to do with the body, you're implying and inferring that gender is completely in the mind. And if it's completely in the mind, that means that you changing your body won't fix anything. That's what you've just said. If your gender isn't anything to do with your body, how will a double mastectomy and phalloplasty help you? If it's nothing to do with your body, how can you fix a mental problem by changing the body? They're arguing against themselves a lot of the time here. It makes no sense. So in that argument there, trans people aren't real. She has just claimed that trans people aren't real by inference. That's what she's done.
Hi.
Little old lady locked in there. Thousands of lives ruined. Loads of people didn't even get to see her. I didn't even really get to see my grandma before she died because of it all. It's me personal, this. Some fucking bullshit. Never forgive, never forget. Move forward. But remember.
It's okay.
heartbreaking, that. Absolutely fucking heartbreaking. Like she's locked up, like she's a prisoner, like she's
I
a
love
criminal.
you.
She just wants a hug. That's all she wants. Hurts my heart watching this.
I wish.
Poor woman.
She still got that ankle monitor on? Damn prison.
It is.
I love you. I know, Mama.
I think that this is worse than a fucking Zoom call, because with a Zoom call there's no temptation of physical presence. That woman is sat looking at her son through a fucking perspex sheet, knowing that he's inches away and all she wants is a hug. And the fact that he's there is like more, it's tormenting her more. He'd have been better off calling her on Zoom, and at least she would have had that detachment. It's breaking my heart watching this.
Sickening. I love you. I wish I could change it all.
What would be the youngest that you would have referred to?
Right, guys, I'm blocking this one off, so I'll have to read it. Dr. Daoshen, co-director of the gender clinic at Children's Philia. Yeah. Filler. Yeah. Says kids as young as 4 can get a double mastectomies, and age is just a number. God, yeah, this is where the nonsense are going. Age is just a number. Love is love. No, it's not. If you're 65 and they're 14, that's paedophilia, my friend. It's not love. For infertility issues come from cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers. She explains that some children can already know they don't want kids. Fucking hell. So they're admitting that it's sterilising them, because that's what it is. They're sterilising children, man. That's what they're doing. They're fucking ruining them.
Patient for either of those surgeries.
So for top surgery, we have referred, and again, we don't recommend the surgery. This is based on over time working with a young person and their family and what decision seems right and developmentally appropriate for them, that they would be sometimes receiving a letter of support or a referral to a surgeon as young as age 14 is probably sometime between 14 and 15 is the youngest. But again, like I said, the majority are happening closer to 18, between 16 to 18. And again, I think it's really important to remember that age is a number, but as an adolescent medicine and developmental specialist, we know that where a child is cognitively and socially is more important than that exact number of their age.
Yeah, good. I want to make sure I understand the full range here. So puberty blocking drugs followed by the cross-sex hormones, it's my understanding they can prevent the full development of the penis and the breast and can even result in loss of fertility.
The questions about fertility, these are important ones that we discuss with patients and families early on and often. So we certainly have discussions prior to starting puberty blockers and prior to starting gender-affirming hormones, testosterone or estrogen. And, what's interesting is that the field of assisted reproductive technology is rapidly evolving, and our understanding of the impacts of these medications on biological fertility are also evolving. I also want to take a step back for a second to say that, transgender youth and their families, just like everyone else, may, are aware of the fact that there are other ways to build families beyond having a child biologically, right? That folks can adopt as well. And many transgender children and adolescents are interested in having biological children, and many are not.
How can a transgender, if you go all the way and you have all the hormones and you have your uterus and everything ripped out, or if you have your testes removed and your penis removed, how are you having a child biologically? You've removed the equipment. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's like me removing the CPU from my machine under the desk and saying, yeah, that'll boot. How? It hasn't got the bits. It doesn't have the capability or any capacity anymore.
Interested in having children at all, or interested in adopting?
That's problematic!
Indeed it is, Rob. Indeed it is. Thanks for watching, guys. That one ran a bit long. I didn't mean to make them that long. I'm sorry. But peace.